Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. A special thanks to those who already follow me and a warm welcome to the newcomers here in Effe living room, the space where we always speak directly and frankly. Today I want to ask you a question. What is wealth for you? Think about it for a moment because the image we have in our heads often doesn't match reality, especially here in Monaco. Many believe this is the place where anything is possible, where you just need to know the right people to make a leap into quality. But is that really the case? The idea for this video came to me during a dinner with friends, where we remembered how many people we have met over the years who came here full of expectations and returned home defeated and even with empty pockets. This video is for everyone, but in particularly for you, who imagine arriving in Monaco with the goal of easy and quick success, ready to grab a piece of the prosperity we experience here, perhaps throughout the sponsor who will set you for life, and possibly even by the end of the week. Now, believe it or not, it doesn't work that way. So, if you imagine yourself as big managers with infallible business systems, traders with guaranteed success, and beautiful girls looking for Prince Charming, you can stay comfortable because the dream of an easy life doesn't belong to the Principality of Monaco. Let's open a parenthesis that I will close at the end of the video. Monaco is a taxi. Learn how to take it, but always know when to get off, never forgetting to pay the fare. But let's immediately begin this reality check by addressing the three cornerstones of our time together. First point, the rich are not waiting for you to propose the breakthrough of the century. They have access to exclusive services and tailor-made privileged information, from banking services to active asset management by family officers. Those are professionals dedicated to the enhancement and strategic allocation of personal and family wealth. I know that this alone would be enough to end the video, because let's face it, opening a super protective safe is practically impossible, so it's better to give up immediately. But there are still a couple of things to consider, including how to play your cards. And we'll review it step by step, I promise. Now, point number 2. True wealth and the illusion of status. A lesson Monaco told me. You heard right. When we think of Monaco, the image that often comes to mind is one of the unrestrained luxury and rivers of champagnes. And yes, a part of Monaco is also that. But let me debunk a myth. Most people who live and work here are very ordinary individuals. They have office hours, do their grocery shopping, take their children to school. In short, the truth is that easy money doesn't exist, not even here. Just to give you some concrete numbers, from the latest statistical analysis, more than 65,000 people work in Monaco, and of these, almost a third live between Monaco and the neighboring principalities of France. The remaining parts are commuters who arrive every day, and no, not all of them in Ferraris, I assure you. So, what about the famous rich people everyone imagines? Well, they exist. They are about 10 to 15% of the residents. And believe me, those few, contrarily to what you might imagine, sometimes you don't even recognize. This brings me to the deepest lesson I learned about money by observing life here. Money can be a huge resource, a lever for freedom, but it can also turn into a huge problem, both in having it and not having it. The difference lies in the nature of these problems. When you don't have money, the problems are often primary and tangible. For example, the problem of paying rent or bills, the impossibility of providing your children with an adequate education. These are problems that drastically limit choices and the future. On the other hand, if you have money, you can free you from many of these constraints, offering you the freedom to choose, to pursue passion, to dedicate time to what matters for you. But paradoxically, it brings with it another series of challenges, often psychological. The fear that money will turn out, the anxiety of never having enough to keep up, the fear of being robbed or losing what has been built. And above all, you will meet the trap of maintaining status. This is the crucial point I want to highlight. The pursuit of status can be infinite. It is the obsession with accumulating with more and more money and spending it visibly. How? For example, with boats, jewelry, luxurious homes, sports car, designer clothes, to show one's position in the social hierarchy. In Monaco, this game is particularly evident because it shows you that there will always be someone higher up than you in this pyramid of exhibition. It's a destination that is never reached. For example, when buying a yacht, great care is always taken to buy one a meter longer than your neighbors. And if by chance it's smaller, well, then you change it because you can be outdone. Now, in my perspective, true wealth is not having €1,000,000, which in Monaco, let's face it, is not even the base to be wow of, given that here wealth is considered from 30 million euros of net worth. True wealth, the one I advise you to aim for, is linked to the freedom of time, to do what you love and live the only life we are granted. And to do this, it is first and foremost important to work by growing, improving to reach always the higher salaries, and then making investments that allow you to produce money detached from your direct working time. Finally, the most beautiful part is the part of being able to say no, either to a new offer or simply to something that takes away your time. So, the greatest lesson I've had here in Monaco can be summarized in 3 points: hard work, investments, and building your free time. Let's leave the status to those who do not yet know the simple steps. And that's why the truly ultra-rich, those with significant assets, who I have the pleasure of knowing and with some the pleasure of collaborating, often pass in anonymity. We train sometimes together and talk in a completely spontaneous and informal way. Not out of opportunism, but because in the end, regardless of our social class, we all live a normal life with our duties and our free time. I'll maybe disappoint some of you, but I will not give you the names. It will be enough to say that they are influential people, many of whom are linked to brands and services you always use every day. You won't see those people driving around in luxury cars, limited edition watches, or expensive clothes. In fact, their tendency is precisely to go unnoticed. Not because they can't afford it, but because they have understood that money can amplify, but it does not define who you are. It is not a destination, but is a means to acquire value, whether it is freedom, time, experiences, security for oneself and loved ones, and the possibility even of contributing positively to the world. I know you'll ask me, so who drives all those luxury cars that go around every day? Well, as I told you, wealth has different figures here. And yes, there are also those who like playing the game of status. But the important thing is to understand what game we want to play. But now let's open the third and final point. There's no just one way to prosper in Monaco, but the mindset here is clear. The first thing you have to take in mind that must be crystal clear is that the mindset of those who have a lot of money act differently from ours. Those with significant wealth in Monaco and elsewhere are not looking for a horse to bet on to do the work for them. Their strategy is called asset allocation. a diversification set of investments that work for them 24 hours a day, without needing a salary or rest. Imagine money as a team of highly specialized collaborators. The better they are at generating positive returns, the greater the personal income will be. We are talking about real estate, for example, stocks, dividends, but also something more. Okay, and now let's understand how you can play your cards. This is where your role comes into play, exploring two ways you can make the most of your opportunities. In Monaco, in fact, people are not considered as a direct investment to bet on, except on a unique, very important occasion, when you or your idea represent a solid asset in the investment landscape. This is the first path of interacting with the super rich, having a solid and innovative business idea. Those who invest do so for something that can generate value, something scalable and manageable. Your startup, with a robust business plan, concrete data, and a reliable team, can become part of their asset allocation. It is an investment in something that has the potential to grow and produce returns. False promises and unclear ideas lead nowhere, especially in such a selective environment. Consider that government itself and other entities here in Monaco connect startups with investors. But don't worry, if you don't feel like a born innovator or a future entrepreneur, in Monaco there's really room for everyone. And this brings us to the second option that you have, becoming a crucial asset for their well-being and success. Often these people own or manage complex companies and assets that need to function perfectly, even without their direct presence. They need reliable, competent, and professional people to employ. Here, your skills, work ethic, and your professionalism are your calling card. So, find a job and keep your feet on the ground. So here is why, whether you're aspiring entrepreneurs with a promising startup or professionals eager to contribute with your skills, finding support or the right recognition in Monaco is definitely possible. And now I'll close the parenthesis I opened at the very beginning of this video. As we locals say here, Monaco is a taxi. It's a means to get on, to be taken towards your realistic life goal. Either it is a more comfortable life, a splendid career, or even an early retirement. The important thing is not to forget that every ride must be paid. How? With commitment and resilience, contributing to what is today considered one of the best states to live in. Here we are part of a perfectly healthy organism. And now I want to hear from you. What are your experiences? Have you ever heard or lived similar stories? Or maybe you are the ultra rich and want to explain your asset allocation. Let me know in the comments below. For today, I'll stop here. We'll see each other very soon in effe living room for the next video. Bye!